The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media. Welcome to Season 5 of Level Up Podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Lovi. I'm here to guide you on a journey of personal growth and fulfillment. Join me as we delve into the challenges of both business and personal life, aiming to discover our true selves and connect more deeply with the world around us. On this podcast, we'll explore the topics that inspire and empower us to become the best version of ourselves. From book reviews to interviews with iconic individuals, we'll have insightful conversations that resonate with your journey. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the Boys and Girls Club of America, Greater Neho Valley, and Lovi's Deli for supporting the show and helping us bring these valuable discussions to you. Please share, rate, and review the podcast. And thank you so much for listening. You can also leave your comments at Kimberly Lovi on social media. Thank you for your feedback and thank you for listening. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in. So today I want to talk to you about failing. So failing is something that I don't think we are celebrating and understanding and digesting and unpacking enough. And failing, if you listen to any successful person out there, they will tell you first about all of their failures. They know people know about their successes. They're happy to share those stories, but almost every single success story starts with failure. And what was interesting was my cousin flew out from Switzerland, and what she said to me was so interesting. And she said in the Swiss culture that people don't talk about failure. And if you fail an exam or you're not successful in whatever it is you're working on, people, like she said, friendships end because of it. And, you know, I can just comment for my own self that when I really look at my entire life, I have failed my way forward. I have failed my way to success. I've failed my way to the top. And I think this is super important, especially if you're a parent, but also because if you're listening to a podcast, chances are you're relatively young and you have a number of years, God willing, ahead of you in your life. And what I find is that it is so easy for all of us, and this is, you know, for myself as well, but it's so easy for all of us to just sit in our comfort zone and continue our routine. And especially, you know, if you have just a lot of obligations in your life, it's very easy to just get caught up in your day-to-day of your life. And so many times, especially as an adult, like we're just surviving it. And it's very easy to get complacent when it comes to, you know, who you really want to be in your life. So in that conversation, my cousin said to me, "What is it like turning 40?" And I thought, well, that's such an interesting question. So here's the thing. I'm going to share with you guys what I told her. When I turned 30, I felt really good about turning 30. I felt really proud of everything that I had accomplished in my 20s, and it was a lot. Like I had traveled a ton. I had gotten myself and graduated USC business school. I had worked for a very prominent person early in my career. Just, you know, a lot of successes. But I know that it's not fair to mention all those successes without also telling you how much I struggled before I was able to reach those successes. And I had so many failures, and I could talk till I'm blue in the face about my failures. But the reality is that's the highlight reel of what came of my 20s. And there was so many ugly stories associated with what it took to get me to the point where I actually was able to come out of my 20s and be like, I crushed it. Like I did great. And so moving into my 30s, I was very happy because I felt that I had checked enough of my boxes and I had spent time establishing myself. But moving into my 40s was different. So moving into my 40s was interesting. It was different. So turning 40, you know, what I told my cousin is that I feel great. I'm 40. I feel like I look great. I feel great. I have lots of energy. Thank goodness. That's first and foremost, being healthy. But the other thing that I would say was really sobering and like really different about turning 40 was it really forced me to take stock, like real stock of where I'm at in my life. And not, I mean, I've always kind of been introspective and done that, but you're no longer like the young up and comer, kind of thing. Although, of course, I think of myself as being like young and vibrant and all that stuff, but you're not the young kid on the block anymore. You're not the junior person in the room anymore. And there's pros and cons to all of this, of course. So when you kind of hit 40, it's a moment for you to really take stock of where you're at and say, okay, what have I accomplished, but also what have I not accomplished, and really stare at that. And having a really honest conversation about, have I hit my goals? Have I hit my dreams? And for me, I still have, an open list of things that I had been dreaming about since I was 20. So what I chose to do was rip off the Band-Aid and start frantically enrolling in every single thing that I was missing, Spanish classes, golf lessons, tennis, enrolling at Harvard, and anyway, all these different things. And, that's really important for me to share with you guys because I feel energized. Even though I'm going through a really tough personal time right now, which I'm not going to share here and now, but at some point I will. Some of you kind of already know. But at the end of the day, I feel energized. And the reason, and again, my cousin asked, like, you have so much energy. She spent time with me for a couple days and she's like, you have so much energy. Like, how do you have so much energy? And I was like, it's because I love what I'm working on with everything. Like, I literally love everything I'm working on, but like, it's a love-hate. And I also, a secondary point to that is that I don't allow, or I really try, I work really hard to protect my energy through, I'm very protective about my sleep, as you should be. I don't run myself ragged. I say no to evenings out a lot of times, especially lately. But everything I spend my time on is something I'm absolutely red in the face, like passionate about. And that is not always the case. And I think this is where I want to talk to you guys is like, so many people just get stuck in their day-to-day rat race and they forget about their own dreams. And I find that this really becomes an issue when you are a parent because you become second and sometimes third, fourth, and fifth on the list. Like as women especially, we completely forget about ourselves sometimes. We forget about so many things. So many of us can't even figure out how to find time to exercise or, cook a healthy meal or just do basic things, get enough sleep, right? So, it makes sense that we forget about our dreams. But here's what I'm telling you is like, as you get older, your time really comes to a head. And I think as adults, it's much harder for us to start from scratch. And some of that, a big part of that is our ego. When you're younger, it's like encouraged to try everything, try this, try that, travel here, travel there. If you don't like this job, switch it. As you get older and responsibilities mount, you're not so nimble. It's not so easy. But what I think is still important and what I think is super important that I want to impart to you is you're not dead, okay? You're not dead. You're busy, yes. You have a full life, absolutely. But you have dreams. And you have these dreams for a very specific reason. It's because you're meant for something more. You are meant to reach your dreams. If you are dreaming it and you're envisioning it for yourself, you should be actively figuring out how to start attacking and achieving those dreams, especially as we age, because it is so easy to just get complacent and be like, oh yeah, I always wish that I was going to do blank, 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 or I always dreamt of doing blank, blank, blank. Well, I'm here to remind you that the clock's ticking. And so I think because it's really probably a function of two things. One is just the fact that it's hard for us to pivot and create space for something new a lot of times. But that's also kind of an excuse, because I guarantee, look, Beyonce has the same number of hours in the day as we do, right? So there's always something that you can take out of your day that can be repurposed from a time perspective. And what I'm urging you to do is take real honest stock of, are you starting to go after your dreams? Maybe some of you are already in a dream job, but many of you aren't. And I know exactly all about what that's like. I have lived that life many times over. That's exactly why I'm not in a traditional job anymore, because I'm done settling. I'm done working for someone else. I'm done being underpaid for the value I bring, and so on and so forth. And so I'm not saying or suggesting you need to quit your job, but what I'm suggesting is, maybe it's something small. Like, I always wanted to be a runner, or I always wanted to be fluent in Spanish. Like for me, right? I signed up for a class. I did it. And here's the thing that I want to talk to you about the most is that first step. You can't sit here in fear and just hoping and wishing that your dreams are going to eventually happen. I'm here to tell you they're not happening if you're not making them happen. No one's coming to save you. Okay? That's the truth. And that's the harsh reality, is that you have to be accountable to yourself and really live up to your expectations of yourself. And I have to tell you, when I have my golf lessons scheduled or my Spanish classes and I have homework, I don't want to do it. Okay? I don't want to do it. I don't want to get up and go to a golf lesson because I suck. Okay? I don't enjoy it. Like it's hard for me because I'm not good, and because it's new, and all these things. When I have Spanish homework that's due and I'd rather go play tennis, I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed, and I don't want to do it, but I do it anyway. Okay? Even if I don't do it the best or whatever, like I try my best, right? But our ego and our complacency is what gets ourselves in the way, and this excuse mentality gets in our way. And I cannot even tell you how many amazing people I've spoken with. I mean, I could list 10 people off the top of my head that have come to me and said, I really want to launch a podcast. I've been dreaming of it. Okay, so many of you are dreaming of something greater or something that you really, really want, and either you don't know how to take the first step, or you don't want to invest in yourself, because a lot of this, sober reality too is like, I mean, I've probably invested 6 figures in my own growth in the last year. And I'm not kidding. Like, I put my money where my mouth is. Like, I have hired people to help me get from point A to point B, whether that's in my personal or professional life. I have put my dollars behind my goals to shortcut my progress. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to do that because I had positioned myself in the workforce and I was able to command enough money that I could save, which again, nobody handed me any of this. So I'm really proud of that. But the point is that, are you taking the time to invest in yourself? Are you willing to put in money, just like your child's activity of, they want to learn a new skill? I guarantee you will move mountains. If your kid comes home, I want to learn robotics. I want to learn soccer. I want to do karate. I guarantee that if it works for your family and you're able to afford it, you make it happen. Like, it's not convenient. So why is it any different than, you investing in yourself? And so I'm just reminding you that it's really important to keep your goals at the forefront of your life and of your mind, and really what you focus on is what unfolds. So all of the results I'm getting in my business is because I have been focused on this since I decided to leave my other job. And what you focus on expands, and that's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because if you choose to focus on somebody else's problems or someone that's toxic or the news or the media or whatever, like, it gets bigger and bigger, consumes you, and guess what it does? Waste your time. So, there's very simple ways to just cut out the noise and just keep your head in the game, because I'm telling you, if you're dreaming about something, you should be you should be aggressively going for it. That is what I have chosen to do since I turned 40. I am aggressively attacking my goals without apology. And is it the most fun ride? Absolutely not. And here's the other thing. Your ego, you've got to be able to put aside your ego and be a student sometimes. We are so afraid nowadays to not be in the driver's seat, to look like we're vulnerable or to look stupid or whatever. And I'm at the point where I know I'm smart. I know I'm capable. I know I'm resourceful. And I also know there's a lot I know nothing about. Just yesterday, I got on a demo for a new big software that I knew nothing about, and I'm learning all about that. I'm also going to be looking through some equipment that just came out, and I'm learning. Like, I'm constantly pushing myself to learn. And in fact, that's one of the main reasons why I love podcasts, is because it's free learning. It's free inspiration. It's free motivation. It's free entertainment. And I love consuming it. I love consuming books and podcasts, talking to smart people that know different things than me. Being curious is so important, and doing it without your ego, and just really making sure that you lean into the discomfort. So, I really just want to say, if you are afraid to take the leap, to really make a move, you're afraid to fail, that tells me you absolutely need to pull the trigger. If you are afraid to invest in, coaching or whatever the it thing is, it can be professional, it can be personal. Maybe you're out of shape and you want to invest in a personal trainer, or, whatever the it thing is in your mind. I know you have something, and there's a voice inside of you that's pushing on you, that knows that there's something there. And I guarantee if I pause this, or you pause this, you could sit down and be really thoughtful and think about what it is that if, you had no excuses in the world, and if you couldn't fail, you would be able to do blank. And you would probably have a list of 2 or 3 things. And what I'm here to tell you is, so long as you're willing to put in the consistent effort and invest both your money, but more importantly, your time into yourself, it will be the best investment you ever made. And here's the other thing I promise you. I'm promising you right here, right now, you will fail. You will fail in whatever the it thing is. I guarantee it. If it's a personal training class, you're going to be sore the next day. You're not going to lift as heavy of weights as you would like. Maybe the jogging warm-up portion is going to suck the life out of you. Okay, there's going to be things that are really, really hard for you. If it's something in the business sense, you're going to come up with maybe some idea and you're going to fail. Some part of that will fail. And that is a beautiful thing. So anything you're going to go after, you will fail. The key here is that you recognize that that's part of the process. It's part of the improvements. When I went out to play tennis, oh my God. I mean, it was like embarrassing, like seriously embarrassing. Okay. I'm not just saying that. Like, it was actually like humiliating. Most people would have walked and never come back because they would have been so embarrassed by how bad that I was basically. Now I'm right in there. But that's because I've put in, and I've really put in the time and the effort. And again, so many times this has not been fun. Like, this path of progression is not always the fun, sexy Instagram picture, reel, whatever. It's not. And that's the whole thing, is that when you go for something, you need to make a decision and do not second guess yourself. And then you need to freaking fight. You need to fight for whatever it is that you are struggling with. Like, I could have quit my company 17 times already, guaranteed. Do you know how many times I've already pivoted my company in literally a matter of months? And you know why? Because I kept learning, oh, this doesn't work. Okay, that's a bad idea. I don't actually want to work with this type of person. Okay, that was a failed idea. So then I pivot. I just keep going. Like, I literally just keep going. I keep thinking of new ways to get something done, or, reframe it, or, get inspiration or clarity on, a different angle as to how I can execute something in a different manner. And if you speak to anybody out there, whether it's a professional athlete, a celebrity, a successful entrepreneur, a friend of yours that's in a high ranked position in your organization. I guarantee you every single person out there has a story of failure along the way to success. So what I'm telling you is don't stay comfortable. Staying comfortable, the only real failure, and this is me just being, as blunt as I can be, because I really want you to get this, because I care so much about you and your progress and your success and your impact in your life. The only real failure is standing still, doing absolutely nothing, choosing to give up on your dreams, choosing to just settle in your life, kind of across the board, doing what's easy. And that's just not you being your best. So the question is, are you going to really show up for your own life, or are you going to just go on autopilot? Are you going to be a source of inspiration and determination and have a great story to tell your kids one day of your success? Or are you just going to do the bare minimum and stay average and stay the same in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and do nothing different? And I'm telling you, I'm so passionate about having other people truly level themselves up with me. And hopefully you see that I am truly, I don't sit here just saying these words. Like, I really have like very real action behind my progress in my life. And I try and share those, ugly truths with you as much as I can, so that you can really understand, like, it's not a highlight reel. It's not sexy. It's not perfect. It's messy. It can be humiliating. It's not glamorous a lot of times, but I will tell you, when you finally start to gain momentum and gain traction, and you keep going with the struggle, and you fight every single day to be consistent with whatever your struggle is that you are fighting for, over time, progress will be made. Every single day, you can fail your way forward. You will learn from your mistakes and you will pivot. You will choose different choices. You will try different things, or you'll just be consistent. Sometimes it's just straight up more reps. So, maybe you can't understand a concept. And then, like, this happened to me in Spanish class, where, doing direct object and indirect objects, direct IOP, DOP, indirect object pronouns, direct object pronouns. Yeah, like, this is what I'm talking about. And it's like, you have to say, se lo da, like, instead of le lo da or whatever. And like, understanding this framework of how this language works, like, it's so confusing. It's so frustrating. It's not easy. But I will tell you this, after listening to these recordings from my professor, over and over and over, when I'm doing dishes, when I'm driving to pick up the kids, like, whenever my quote unquote free time is, even though all I really want to do is listen to a podcast. Instead of doing that, I put this on and I do these reps and I listen. And I'll tell you, the first 5, 6, 7, 8 times, like, it's so frustrating and I hate it and I'm failing. But then, by like the 8th time, the 9th time, the 10th time, all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. Okay, yeah. Okay, wait, I think I can do this. And then I'll like pause it, and then I'll repeat it, and I'll like take my time with it, and I apply what I think I know. And then I play it and it's correct. Like, boom. Okay, maybe I get 1 correct. Then eventually it's 2 correct, then 3. And before you know it, I have real momentum. But it's painful. The struggle truly is real. So I just want to give you some real kind of, hopefully, motivation and inspiration to remind you of your greatness, that you are freaking fantastic. By virtue of the fact that you're listening to a podcast like this, you want to be better. You're trying to be your best. Like, that's already half the battle. You're already somebody that's motivated to be something better, to create a new version of yourself. Come on, we've learned from Madonna, right? Always be reinventing yourself. And you're not a tree, you're not stuck. So when you choose 1 or 2 things that you want to go after, and it can be literally anything. There's nothing too small or too big. It can be anything in your life. You need to I think they say you have like 4 seconds to like rip off the Band-Aid and make a decision. Like when you think of something, like when you make that decision, make it. Like when you think of signing up for the class, go sign up immediately. Take immediate action. And then go so far, this is like my hack, go so far with that action that you actually cannot go backwards. Okay, send that email to that person, to that client. Sign up for that class that you can't, and pay for it, that you can't get your money back, so you can't back out. Okay, make the hard, impulsive decision when it comes to investing in your own success and your own dreams and your own progress. There is not a Chanel bag, there is not a fancy car, there is not a better trip in the world that trumps you being able to capture, fight for, and eventually ascertain your dreams. I guarantee there is no better confidence builder. There's no level of happiness. There's no amount of money. I mean, there's nothing better, truly, than fighting for your dreams tooth and nail, even if you are being kicked and punched and gutted along the way. If you hang in the game, I promise you, those are the people that make it. Those are the ones that are the most fulfilled, the most satisfied. They're the ones that hit their highest potential because despite all odds, they stayed in the game. They fought their way forward. They clawed their way to the top. They decided they will not quit until they get there. So that is where I'm at, and I want to take you with me to make sure that you are very comfortable failing forward, that you are very clear on the dreams that you're going after, and that you stop with these excuses, because you know all of us have excuses. I mean, I have 3 kids, I've got aging parents, I've got a business I'm running, I've got a husband, a house, and so on and so forth, right? So I get it. I have a full life. I have every excuse also. Just like you can create every excuse. You know what I do? I go to sleep right after my kids and I wake up earlier than everyone. So I have time. I'm taking a digital course right now. A separate digital course. You know why? Because I make time for things that are important. Okay? So some of this is just simple prioritization, but at the end of the day, when you make excuses, you're only fooling yourself, okay? And that's what I'm here to tell you today. And I hope that this really does motivate you to rip off the Band-Aid. And as you guys know, I am your go-to person. If you are one of those people, and I know there's so many of you out there listening, if you are one of those people and you are dreaming of launching your voice, and you are dreaming of seeing your name on Apple Podcast and Spotify, let me help you take your first step, okay? All you have to do is reach out to me on Instagram. You can email me, Kimberly at Iconic Nation Media, or DM me at Kimberly Lovi on Instagram. That's my personal email and my Instagram directly. I read every message. I promise you I will respond within 24 hours, and I will take your first step with you. I struggled for 5 years to figure out podcasting. I'm all self-taught. Let me give you the playbook. Let me save you a couple of years. Let me give you the Cliff's Notes, right? Like, it's like you get to cheat, all right? I'm here to help you. I'm here to shortcut your progress to I can launch your podcast in 30 days if you participate correctly. We can literally change your entire trajectory in 30 days, which is nothing. Candidly, if I worked with you even more intimately, I could even shorten that time frame depending on your level of participation. So, I'm here to get you results. I'm here to get you to your dreams. I'm here to get you over that bridge and to make your dreams a reality with you. And that is my passion. That is truly my entire passion at this point in my life, is helping people achieve their dreams to the best of my ability. And this is one of the best ways I know how, through my podcast and helping others get their voice out and get their impact out and feel authentic and in control and build something they love. So that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for listening. I also there's going to be some other ways to work with me. I am building and I'm working feverishly on rolling out more offers for you guys. And if that's something that you think you might want to be a part of, DM me waitlist. and I will put you on the wait list, and I'll tell you more about that over the coming weeks. But anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I know you have so many other things to be doing, things you can listen to, and I hope that this added value and inspiration and motivation for your Wednesday. And if it did, can you please also just send me a little love? Give me 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, review, comment, and I'll talk to you guys next week. All right, that is it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to follow us at Iconic Nation Media and send us a direct message and comment on some of our posts so that we can hear your feedback and incorporate them into our show. We appreciate you listening, and we look forward to catching you next week.